WAOH is brought to you in part by Ohio's #1 trusted real estate team, The Young Team, online at theyoungteam.com. Welcome back here to WAOH and our feature on Summit County Children's Services, specifically the work of foster parents, foster families. And of course, there is a great need here in Akron and Summit County for foster families. For those to be foster parents, to consider becoming a foster parent, take a look at summitkids.org. Again, families and children in need right here in our community. And of course, our way of perhaps helping to contribute and support the great work of the folks at Summit County Children's Services and support all of the foster families that are out there is to have wonderful foster families here on the show. Right now, we have Rachel and Ezzard. Welcome.
Thank you.
And we were talking off air about fostering and what fun and what joy. And we wouldn't want to misrepresent. There are certainly challenges.
Yes.
So take us through all the kids, the ages, the foster kids you have now, and maybe even some that came back and adopted you.
Okay. So as of right now, I always tell people that we have 7 kids, 3 that we adopted, 1 that we are fostering right now currently, and also 3 that adopted us. They went home, and then Mom realized that we are her village and her kids' village, and we've had them now 7 years. Yeah, 7 years total. So our age range right now in our home is a 2-year-old all the way up to 11-year-old. So
you met at the University of Akron, go Zips. All right, you're both studying together. You weren't in classes together.
We did not.
no.
I won't ask the detail. You met on the Zip Strip. I remember being out in the back in the days. We called it the Zip Strip, right? And there was at the University of Akron. It's tons of fun. So you met in college, and then got married, and then at some point the discussion about fostering came up. How did that discussion start? What inspired you? Or what made you think we should look into fostering?
You want to tell? Or?
After being married for some time, we was like, hey, how about we start a family? So then we started traditional means and realized like, something may be wrong.
Sure.
We realized we couldn't have kids biologically. So then she came up with the idea like, well, maybe she'd look into fostering or adopting kids. I was kind of hesitant at first, as you probably would imagine, but after going to one of the informational meetings and taking the next step, it seemed like that was our calling to do. So we just got on the train and never got off at this point.
That's wonderful. And it drives home the point that if anyone watching would be interested in exploring the idea, you can go to the informational meetings. The Summit County Children's Services provides numerous ways to look into it, to decide if it's for you, to see the training that's needed, to see all the resources they provide for foster families. It's not just go in and sign up and here you go.
Exactly.
A lot of ways to really approach it slowly.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Now, give me a sense of the first placement, or at first you had small kids. How did the first one go?
Let's see. I remember that was a middle of the night phone call for a newborn. I want to say he was about 7 weeks old. We got that phone call. We said, yes, we'll take him. We actually kind of changed our schedule a little bit because it was a newborn and he wasn't age out to be able to go to a daycare yet or to a center. He started doing the day shift. I started working the night shift. Luckily, I had a flexible job to do that, to change my hours. And we've had him for about, 2 weeks? We had him for about 2 weeks, and then a family member came and took him, and yeah.
Okay, wonderful. And then at some point, you have adopted 3, and that was through Summit County Children's Services. So you adopted, it was a placement, and then they stayed with you permanently.
They did. It was actually 2 separate placements.
Okay.
We had our daughters first. We had them for about 2 years, and then we finally got our court date. And then within those 2 years, we got our son. He was a newborn, straight from the hospital. So again, our life changed and went upside down a little bit, but for the good. And then luckily we were able to get a court date for all 3 of them at the same time. It was that easy. Well, for us, it was that easy. And now we have 3 children.
Incredible.
We love, yeah.
And additionally, you've taken in other foster kids in addition.
Yeah, we have taken a couple of other children, and then right now we have our 2-year-old. We got him at 7 weeks, and unfortunately the case didn't work out for permanent custody for the parents. So we're in the process of adopting him. So right now we are currently waiting for a court date so that we can adopt him. But we are still close relationship with the birth family of him.
Sure.
So, he has grandparents that are out of state that we try to, so that they can still be involved and see him.
You used the word unfortunately to describe the biological parent on their case plan, not able to meet the requirements and simply just being unable.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that so much because what you have, and I sense it and we talked about it, is tremendous respect and love for the biological parents and understanding that probably the best thing for all these children is if their biological parents were capable.
Yeah.
And that our role as foster parents is to step up. And whether that's a short-term placement or all the way to 18 and into life, it's the role we take on.
Yes.
And you have a beautiful story too about the love and respect you have. Maybe we've adopted the child, but then in a way adopted their family.
Yeah.
And so the children that you took in that were placed back with their biologicals and then wanted to seek you out.
Yeah.
And they recognize perhaps the love and stability and all that you brought to it. And I'm sure all of these children love and respect their biological parents, but they love stability and they love what foster parents bring to their lives.
Yeah.
So explain how this went, where the children reached out and said, "Hey, we're back with our biologicals, but we need you in our lives. We can't live without you."
Yeah. Let's see. That case, we've had them for about a year and a half. Before they went back home. Luckily, Mom was able to, like I said, we are a cheerleader to all the bio parents. We were her biggest cheerleader. We supported her, and she was able to get back on the right track. Got through school, was able to get was able to provide a home and everything for their children. They went home, and then all of a sudden, a month later, I got a phone call saying, "Hey, your daughters are asking for you. I need you to come get them or I'll drop them off." And they just been in our home for 7 years now. We get them on the weekends. We get them during summer breaks, and they just become part of our family. And to this day, their mom tells us, "You are our biggest supporter. If it wasn't for you and your husband, I don't know where I would be." And she's just very thankful and very grateful. And we're very grateful that we're still able to be in their lives and to love on them and to help them, take them to church and take them to different trips and stuff that maybe Mom wasn't able to do. So, yeah.
If you grew up in the Cleveland area and you did college here in Akron, this is your hometown. This is your home area. So you have a village here.
Yeah.
You mentioned church. Describe your village. Who are your biggest supporters? Obviously, we can talk about Summit County Children's Services provides the foster community, foster parents with a great deal of resources. You're never alone.
Yes.
But outside of that, what are your resources? Your village, your helpers. Who do you name as?
No.
All of them.
My mom steps up. My niece steps up. Her mother steps up. The church, whenever we need them, they step up and help. So it's just being able to have that connection with people to reach out for help when you need it. Granted, you try not to bother people because, okay, this is our kids and our journey. But sometimes you need a helping hand. Just having the people in your corner really helps out.
Have you ever called any of those people in crisis mode? And how does that go? And they never said, "I told you so."
They have not.
They've never said, "I told you so," right? I've made a phone call in crisis mode. But let's be honest, everyone who has ever raised a child has called someone in crisis mode.
Yes.
This is not just limited to foster families. Okay. That's important to know.
Yes.
I love the angle of the what we are talked about here is the love and respect for biological parents. They made a choice to bring a child in, and some of them were born and raised in unfortunate situations that they didn't choose. And whatever their journey is, we don't judge. and you're able to foster, in a way, the relationship with them. What advice do you give to other foster families in terms of trying to, it's hard. Perhaps we want to judge somebody that isn't capable of raising a child they brought into the world. Perhaps we want to judge because they went down the path of this, that, and the other, that we would say, well, how do you chose to do that over your child? But we don't judge. And how do you advise people to find that mindset?
For us, our thing is that we are a judgment-free home, but we also tell people that to be open-minded, because you don't know what happened in that child's journey or the birth parent's journey, to always be open-minded, to have an open heart and an open mind, so that you can truly be able to help the family and the child out, whether it be for a day or for forever. But yeah, that's the biggest thing, just to be open-minded and to just love and care for everybody. Like I said, you never know what their story is. You never know what they went through, because no one's perfect. That's another thing that I always say in my life, in my household, even with the kids that's in our home. No one's perfect. So just be open-minded, open heart, and we'll just make it through this journey together.
Sure. We'll leave with this idea, because you mentioned church, and I know that part of our village, and I raised my child in our faith, but it's not required to be a foster parent to go to church, or really even to be a perfect person, as there's no such thing as a perfect person, as you said. But the idea that even if you don't have a faith background, you still have to accept that some of this just happens for a reason, that there has to be a higher power. It's a calling. Wrap up with that. Just describe that you felt called, that you feel the purpose in what you're doing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And for me, I can't speak for her. As they said, this is difficult. You have your good days and your bad days, and there's days you want to quit, but then you realize you can't quit. And that's when you realize that you've been called. As many times as I told her as the kid went home, I'm done. I don't want to do this no more. It hurts, and I hate to see the kids go. And then 2 weeks later, hey, we got a placement. Oh, yeah, bring them on. You know what I mean? So when you have that reaction to it, you're meant to do it for as long as you can do it. As long as you keep things in perspective, especially with birth families, their situation. Like you said, don't judge anybody. Just realize that it's about providing that space for the child in the time that you have them.
Yeah.
When you're called, you have a minute to respond and make that. And what is that discussion for people who have never been in the situation of, hey, we have a child, we would need to bring that child over in an hour. You have 60 seconds to decide. That's the moment where you step up or pass. And how does that conversation go? Hopefully you're together when you get that call.
It's a funny story, because with our adoptive son, I was at work, and it was like 9 o'clock in the morning. They said, hey, I just got called about a newborn. They want to know if we'll take them. And I was like, well, can we talk about it? I mean, I'm at work. And she's like, yeah, we'll talk about it. I'm like, all right. And then I get home and the baby's there. So I'm like, oh, okay, good call. So
all right. She got to say, okay, I like this.
Unfortunately, there's going to be times where you're going to have to
pull the trigger.
You got to make the call.
You have to make the call. Like you said, it's within seconds. You literally have less than a minute to decide if you're going to take this child or not. And I said yes.
But leading up to that moment is a year of training or discussing or researching it, so you're in a way preparing for that moment where you have 60 seconds to decide.
You try to be as prepared as you can, but it's kind of like parents. There's not a book for this. You know what I mean? So you take all the training, everything you've been through, and you just gotta make the call. All right, are you ready or you're not ready?
She made the right call on that.
Yes, she did.
Wonderful. Well, do you have faith in the person that makes the decisions?
You got it.
There you go.
Work on way or nothing.
I love it. Thank you for what you're doing. It's inspiring. It's a joy to hear you two talk about it and laugh. And I'm sure there are moments that are impossible, as you said, and make you want to quit. But overall, you're thrilled you did it.
We are.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing and being with us. And thank you for watching as we continue our series talking to foster parents who have stepped up to serve those families and children in need here in Akron and Summit County. And certainly there's a lot. And hopefully the presentations and interviews we've been putting out there and doing here at WAOH will inspire someone from our audience to take a look at summitkids.org and consider exploring the idea of being a foster parent. Thanks for watching. More to come. Stay with us here at WAOH Television.